But yeah, hello there, Kenobi cast.
Hello
Wow, that
there.
was a that was a fantastic drop. Of course, this week we got our the lineup, the fantastic cast lineup for the Kenobi series. Um, of course, we've got Ewan in there. Amazing to see him, and he's like at the perfect age. Can I just say he's at the perfect age right now to
His
play
birthday was
that like.
yesterday.
Oh, it was. Oh, it
His
was
birthday was
too.
yesterday. Happy
Yeah.
birthday, Ewan McGregor. Yeah, he
How
is
old
the
did he turn?
rival
49?
50.
50. Hey, there you
He's
go.
he's 50. He looks like he's 25. And I'm
Yeah.
like, and he hasn't
Aged well.
aged. He had
Yeah.
very well.
Yeah, he looks great. But yeah, he's definitely in that perfect in between of playing that Revenge of the Sith Obi-Wan to the Alec Guinness Obi-Wan. So I feel like he's in that perfect look right now. So I'm so excited to just see him in the robes again. That's going to be so exciting. Just fantastic. What do you, we also have one of the most, it was rumored quite a few months ago, or weeks and months ago now, but we did have that whole story of that Hayden Christensen is returning to the series, which is super exciting. Of course, like no one in the planet was disappointed by that news coming out. What was your reaction to Hayden being back in the show?
So I squealed a little bit, like,
Squealed,
so
squealed.
I was sitting on my bed at home watching the Investor Day, uh, uh, Disney Investor Day roll out, and they kept hitting one thing after the other, after the other, after the other, and then they
That
were
was a big
like,
day.
also Hayden Christensen is coming back, and I'm like, ah, and like, like it's such an interesting thing because like Hayden Christensen is obviously he's Anakin Skywalker, he is Darth Vader, like he has not been in any Star Wars projects since Revenge of the Sith, which I think concluded filming in 2004. And like that was
Yes.
like, and what was really interesting is I think it was Celebration 2017. I don't know if it was 2017 or 2019. Hayden Christensen was at Star Wars Celebration doing a what
Yes.
year?
Yeah. It was when
20
when they were in
20
Orlando.
Yeah, it was in Orlando,
That's
2017, I think.
that's 2017. I think
2017.
that's
Okay.
17. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it was Celebration Orlando in 2017, and I saw that Hayden Christensen was there, and that was the second time he had ever been at Celebration. I think the previous time was right before Attack of the Clones. And I was like, why is he here? He has never showed up.
Yeah.
Why is he here? If he is here, that means that he's going to be in some sort of Star Wars project at some point, because some of these actors, they don't show up. Like there's the Mark Hamills, there's the Carrie Fishers, of Star Wars that are always at Celebration, like Sam Witwer, Ray Park, etc. Peter Mayhew, sadly, he was there. I think he was there in 2019.
Yeah,
that was right before he passed away. And like I went to Celebration 2019, so like that was my very first Celebration thing. So when I saw Hayden at Celebration, I was like, okay, so he's there for a reason. And we had to wait 3 years to find out what that was. But it's not like Star Wars is making stuff up. They're planning years in advance.
They've got a good vision, good plan. So I hadn't actually thought about that. That is so true. That in his interview with name slipping me, but his interview he had on
she's
that
from the Star Wars show, I think.
Show, she's from the show, but yeah, so that of course super exciting to see Hayden come back. How do you think he will be integrated into the actual storyline? So with the cast release, they did specifically say he's returning as Darth Vader. A lot of people had a lot of theories that Hayden will be coming back as like a young Anakin flashback thing with Anakin and Obi-Wan, but now that he's been named, he's coming back as Darth Vader. How do you think he's going to be in the show? How's that going to be incorporated?
Well, unless if they're going to retcon some stuff, which I hope they don't. Because the first time that Vader and Kenobi saw each other was in episode 4, because Vader didn't even know, according to canon, Vader did not know that Kenobi was still alive. He thought that Kenobi had died in the purge.
Yeah.
I think that we are only going to see him in passing. I think we're only going to see him in passing. I'm not entirely sure exactly what this show is going to involve at all. Like, what was, like, my biggest question is, what was Kenobi doing outside of sitting in the desert for 19 years? Yeah. So it's gonna be very interesting, but I honestly don't think that I think a lot of people want to see Hayden as Vader doing a bunch of stuff, and I think that he's gonna be in the same type of role that Vader was in Rogue One, that he's only in a couple scenes. Like, we're gonna see some of the like Rise of the Empire stuff, but I think that we're maybe even going to see Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka in this show as well.
Ooh,
which would be really cool.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, that's not, whatever. But like the fact that they had Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, which I don't know what the actor and actress's names are off the top of my head.
Bonnie Pierce.
Bonnie Pierce.
And Joel Edgerton.
Joel Edgerton. Thank you so much.
Yes. Yeah, there you go.
The fact that they are in this show means that obviously, like, I'm sure, my assumption is that we're actually going to see an alternate form of that end scene from Revenge of the Sith when he gives Luke away to them. I think that's what the only time. So my theory here is one of two things. That is the only time that they are going to show up. They could honestly just redo the end of Revenge of the Sith and just like show Hayden Christensen in the first episode as Vader, and that's it. That's all they could do. They could do like certain things, like you could see flashbacks of like what's going on. Obi-Wan Kenobi could have force visions of what Vader is actually doing, which would be really cool, because then we could actually see Order 66 and what is happening outside of just Revenge of the Sith. So he might maybe only be in like the first episode, but going into a little bit more, talking about Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, I think that they might only be in maybe the first episode when he gives Luke away. And then I think that this is kind of, because it's only going to be, do we know how many episodes this is going to be? 8, 10?
I believe it's 8.
6. Okay. So it's,
8.
okay.
So, yeah, there.
So it's 6 or 8. Okay. So if it's only going to be 6 episodes, that means that they have to do the entire series in 6 hours. So so every episode will be like an hour long. That means that my assumption is that it's going to start at the end of Revenge of the Sith, and it's going to go to A New Hope. So I think every episode is going to be a different time period. And it's not going to be like super linear, and it's just going to be like different things that happen to Kenobi as he's in the desert, as he's doing things. And I think that Ahsoka is going to be involved, because
I like that theory. I hadn't thought about Ahsoka being in this show, to be honest, until you just said it. So interesting theory.
Well, he said Ahsoka says that Kenobi kind of trained her, correct? Like they at some point were in like communication, correct?
I don't remember
in Mando.
That.
When did she say that? Were you
But
thinking about Mando?
That does bring up a good segue, because like there is that unfinished Clone Wars episode of Obi-Wan and Anakin talking at Utapau, where he's pretty much going to sleep, and I think that'd be a great like kind of dream transition if Obi-Wan like having that live action scene of him sitting in the campfire talking about Ahsoka leaving, and Anakin saying those lines to him. It's like, how is it any different if I did it? How would you feel if I did that?
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, we don't have to worry about that, or something like that. It's not going to happen. And then he closes his eyes and wakes up, and we're in Tatooine.
Yeah. See, the thing is, like, I don't want to put too much faith. I don't want to put too much faith in, like, this sounds really weird. I don't want to put too much faith in Lucasfilm. I don't want to get too hyped over Hayden Christensen being in the show. I think he's going to have a similar role to like Ahsoka had in Mandalorian.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
I think that adds a lot of emphasis onto the character as well. I think we talked about it when we spoke about Clone Wars a little bit, a couple episodes ago, about if they put Ahsoka is a very loved character. And if they put her in everything, she's going to lose that wow factor of there she is, there's Ahsoka. She's going to lose that factor. So I think they did her and Mando really well of just putting in her for an episode. Did she come up again? She didn't come up again, did she? It was just the one episode.
She was
and
in
and
the.
it's just
Well,
it just focuses.
Was she in the? She was in the final episode too.
Yeah, I was like, was she? I don't think she was.
I haven't seen.
No.
So,
Yeah,
okay, so
for some reason I thought she was. Okay.
So my assumption is that they're going to do the same thing with Hayden. I think that they're going to have her in
I
the
think so
one episode, and that's it.
Yeah, and just because then it will be really a lot more impactful, and the focus is on wow, look at this scene that they had, and it's all the drama is there. Yeah, we mentioned them just before. Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen, the stars of the show. I want them to be the stars of the show.
Nikk, by the way, your microphone is really low and over the stream. Just letting you know.
It's probably not now.
No.
Yeah,
it's working. It's working. Oh, so good.
Yeah, Aunt Beru.
But Aunt Beru. Oh, I want her recipe when she's making that thing in like the food processor in like A New Hope, and she's putting like pieces of like fennel like into this food. I want scenes of young Aunt Beru doing that. I want that. That's all I want from this show.
The only thing that I want from this show is I just want to know how to make blue milk. That's it. I want. See, we saw Luke Skywalker make green milk in the Last Jedi. I want to see Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru make blue milk in Kenobi. That's
Correct
what I
me
want.
if I'm wrong. It's from a bantha. Is
that what that is?
I'm pretty sure it's from a bantha. It's like bantha milk. Or maybe
Is
I'm
it
just
bantha
thinking
milk?
of the podcast Blue Bantha Milk. Maybe go.
I don't know.
I'm just thinking that.
I mean, the only reason why I'm here is because Jordan has blue shadow virus.
That's so true. That's
He's fine
blue
though.
Shadow virus. Oh, that's a good Clone Wars arc there. That's incredible. But I think so. We're talking about Uncle Owen, Aunt Beru, little Luke. Little boy Luke, he's 10 years old at this point.
Yep.
I think we'll actually be seeing a little bit of him, quite like not a lot, but a good amount for some reason. I have this, obviously there's no like little boy in the cast release we just got, but I feel like that's going to be something that they won't release like as news.
No, that's good. That's going to be like, I think that is definitely a possibility. And you want to know another theory that's like not related to them?
Yeah.
I think that this would be the perfect segue to actually recast Luke Skywalker as Sebastian Stan.
Huh. Okay.
So,
all right. Yeah, I'm with that.
So
I can get on board with that.
We know that Lucasfilm listens to the fans. They understand.
Mm-hmm.
They might not listen all the time, but we got Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka. Everybody wants Sebastian Stan, and like literally everybody. Even Sebastian Stan has come out and said that. Okay, so this
too. That was
last week. This is like a couple days ago.
This is fresh.
Yeah. So Sebastian Stan on national television said that the only way that he would play Luke Skywalker is if Mark Hamill was involved. And Mark Hamill, I think the quote was, "I will play Luke Skywalker if Mark Hamill will share the role with me." And then someone tweeted that at Mark Hamill, and he responded, and he said, let me look this up really quick, and then we'll get back to this.
That would be incredible, I think, and like, yeah, because Luke has to be in this show.
Yeah.
He just has to be.
Luke has to
Like,
be in the show.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
like, are they going to like, are they going to deep fake Luke like they did in Mando, or are they gonna are they going to have somebody play him? And the deep fake of Luke Skywalker looks so bad, and like
okay, thank you.
It would,
Someone
like,
said it. Thank
no,
you.
it looks so bad. It like, when I saw that, I like I freaked out, but I was like, that looks really bad. Oh, but
You know
okay, so I did find I found the quote.
Okay, yes. Just before we get to that, it just with the deep fake Luke, it felt like a Battlefront 2 cutscene. That's what I felt. I'm like, I'm like the wow factor, because it was like, oh, that's Luke Skywalker, but then also, are we in Battlefront right now?
it looked like Battlefront. It looked like Leia from Rogue One. And they did such a good job with Peter Cushing in Rogue One, and the way that he looks. And I understand, like, he looks animated. He does. I'm not going to discount that. He does look animated, but that the lighting on that looks so much better than what Leia looked like, which I think that they should have just had her daughter do it. What's Billy? Yeah. Billy Lord. I think they should have just had her do it. She looks very similar. She could have just put some prosthetics on. And the reason why they probably didn't was just because of money. But if it's about money, then how much do they spend on the Peter Cushing animation? like,
I want to figure on that. Yeah, that's gonna be
like, it's so much money. Getting back to the quote, Mark Hamill said, quote, "This assumes I have any say in casting decisions at Lucasfilm, when in fact I don't."
Wow.
So
that's already a big setup.
So basically, according to, and if you guys want to read that article, we actually have it on our Facebook page right now. You can go over to facebook.com/Culture Slate, and we have that came out a couple of hours ago. So if you want to go and read that, you can go do so right now. We have a bunch of articles segue into like our website. We actually post about 4 to 6 Star Wars related articles on our website, cultureslate.com, every single day. So go and check out all of the content that we have over there. But let's segue back into what we were talking about.
It's juicy content. Just like
good.
Just like seeing Luke, because the thing with Luke as well, seeing a young farm boy Luke, is that when he speaks of old Ben in A New Hope, he's saying it with context. Like, he knows him. He knows it's not like Ben is a stranger and Kenobi is a stranger at that point. He's like, he speaks about him like you would speak a really old friend that you only see once a year, but you have a great connection with. So I would love to see that,
because he doesn't know who Obi-Wan Kenobi is, because he asked in A New Hope, is he one of your relatives, like your Ben Kenobi? And I also really want to, there's so many things that we could talk about. We can literally talk about this for like 10 hours. There's so many things that, like, why does he choose Ben? Like, where did that come from? Like that's are they going to explain why his name is Ben? Like, is Obi-Wan his actual name? That's not his real name. That's not how he got his name.
His actual name is Ben, and then maybe his Jedi name is Obi-Wan.
I mean, like, we also don't know, because like all of the Jedi's names sound weird, but he's the only one that has like they all sound weird. But like my question is, like, where did that come from? Why did he choose that? Like, did he get it from an Imperial checkpoint when he joined the military? How did he get that name? Like, what is the backstory to that? Like, we like, one of the things that I really, really want to see is I want to see the planet of Jon Stew.
Okay.
Which, if you don't know, Jon Stew is the planet that Obi-Wan is from, according to legends. And according
to a real niche reference.
That's a very niche.
Yeah, super niche. Wow.
So for those of you who don't know what that is and you've never heard of it, it's the planet that Obi-Wan comes from, and it's actually a tribute to Jon Stewart. I think George Lucas named it. He named it. George Lucas named Obi-Wan's planet after Jon Stewart, who is the talk show comedian, political comedian. What?
Yeah.
Late show last
comedian.
week. No, what show? Daily Show. He was the Daily Show
Show.
host before like Trevor Noah took over. But like, so I want to see that planet.
Yeah.
And
right,
I swear, if they for some reason if they go and if they go and do Exegol again and change the name, I'm gonna be mad. I'm like, by the way, it's not it's Korriban, right? That's what it is.
Is it?
That's the legend's name for Exegol, right? Because there's a planet of the Sith. It's Korriban. If I'm not mistaken, someone in the comments on Stu John, thank you.
Yeah.
Somebody, it's actually Stu John is the Obi-Wan's planet app.
Yeah, that
thank
makes
you.
more sense.
I was like
the whole time I was like, is that right?
I was like, that's
right.
That was wrong. It's Jon Stewart's planet. Anyway, sorry, my bad. But yeah, I'm just reading. You're still hoping for a recast of Ahsoka. I don't agree, but I feel
we need more Dexter content.
We need more Dexter.
I am for that. Let's get Dexter.
Old buddy.
Hello.
I would be
cloner.
Hello there.
So good. I also want to just mention a post that, just going back to the cast, a post from Moses Ingham, who was cast in the series, which her character is unknown. We don't know who she's going to be yet.
Yep.
But she made an Instagram post, and I think, Nikk, we have it to show the audience as well. Her Instagram post says, "I play with lightsabers." So she just posted a picture of herself, a fantastic selfie. She looks fantastic. And her caption was, "I play with lightsabers." Inquisitor. So there she is, Moses Ingham. So she's the third one on the list, like just it's layout wise. So I don't know, probably doesn't mean anything, but maybe. But my theory is,
I think
Inquisitor.
I think it does have, which, actually that makes sense, because one of the things that we never see in Rebels or the Clone Wars, well, in Rebels, not the Clone Wars, one of the things that we don't see in Rebels, I just finished watching Rebels, we only see Vader talking to the Inquisitors twice.
Yeah, a lot of the time
I think it's only once or twice.
Yeah, it's often through people that they get like their assignments, or they just
And even during the time of Rebels too, like there was already some of them that were gone. Some of them Vader already offed in the comics, so there was already a few of them gone, but there's still I think two or three that haven't been shown yet. And we have a couple that will, especially in this timeline, could still be alive, because if we're gonna go off of like Fallen Order, like Cal and all that happens between 5 years after Revenge of the Sith, and we don't. I think this is 8, so some of them are still alive and kicking. I mean, a lot of them are still.
I think because this is going back to the Hayden Darth Vader conversation of I agree we won't get a lot of him. I think we'll get some badass scene where maybe he's in a Star Destroyer going, "Oh, okay, Inquisitors, go check if Obi-Wan is still alive somewhere," giving some sort of an order, and maybe an Inquisitor comes to Tatooine. But then why wouldn't Vader just go himself if he hates Obi-Wan that much? That's okay. Maybe I just answered my own question.
Yeah, I don't know. Now, what's really interesting is, so she is the third person on this. Looking at this, I just pulled it up. She is the third person on this before Joel. So my assumption, because my assumption is this isn't random. Like everything in Star Wars, everything is done for a reason. So my assumption is she's the third main character in this show.
Yeah.
just from like if I'm gonna just like assume here, it's Ewan McGregor, Hayden Christensen, and then her.
Yeah. So are we seeing a possible Inquisitor, or could we be seeing a Light Force user? If she's making a statement of I play with lightsabers, maybe are we getting a new Jedi character that we haven't met before?
Maybe.
Yeah, and she's hiding out on Tatooine as well with Obi-Wan, and they're kind of.
So the Cave of Chaos brought up
mm-hmm.
a good comment here. Wait, does Hayden mean James Earl Jones' voice work as Vader? Which brings up a good point. Would you think that Vader is going to be voiced by James Earl Jones, or since there's a plethora of different voice actors, especially the guy, I forgot his name, and I feel bad.
Matt Lantern?
No, not Matt Lantern, but he's voiced Vader for a couple games, but he was in Resistance, the show Resistance, the main guy, not Kaz, but
yes, that voice actor.
That was the least favorite series for me. So yes, them. He voiced them pretty well too. So I wonder.
Scott Lawrence.
Yes.
I think so.
There is, yes. I think we'll be getting a Hayden voiced Vader. I think that's gonna.
You think so?
I think so.
Or we can get something like they did in Clone Wars, where he's battle damaged, and we get a mixture of both, which I would die for as well.
Oh, that would be incredible. I would actually kill for that too.
What would be really interesting, because like in Legends, at least, I know that there like in Legends and in books, like Vader gets like, and we see this in Rebels, Vader gets chopped up by Ahsoka in Rebels, and you hear his voice mixed with somebody else, which I don't know if that's Matt Lantern or I think it is. It is. Okay. So my assumption is that we're gonna see that, and I think maybe, I mean, with what is her name again? Sorry.
Moses Ingham.
Thank you. With her character, if she's playing with lightsabers, my assumption is that she is an Inquisitor, and maybe what happens is we see Darth Vader capture her and then take her and then turn her to the dark side, but in that process we see her try to kill Vader. And then you see
Chad also brought up in the chat, we don't know what happened to Barriss Offee. Could she be Barriss? And I mean,
she could be.
She could be. I mean, it'd be nice.
I just read that too, and that's blown my mind. I think that's a really good idea. I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Because Barriss turns into an Inquisitor, and she's the Inquisitor in Rebels, correct?
We don't know yet. No, she wasn't. Well, that wasn't her in Rebels. No. We assumed that was the thing. Like when it was first aired and all, everyone assumed that Freddie Prinze Jr.'s wife was playing that Inquisitor was Barriss, but it wasn't. It was its own. She was her own thing.
Okay.
But yeah, we still don't know. And it could be who's chasing down Obi-Wan. I mean, it's kind of it'd be nice, but it would also kind of. I mean, I guess we gotta ask this: would it suck if that's how we saw Barriss' story come in against Obi-Wan and leading these clones or Stormtrooper, or would you enjoy that, or would you feel it'd be taken away and it wasn't for Ahsoka to fight as her being, having some connection to it, but taking away just that connection from Clone Wars, if you just connected as she is a Jedi and she's familiar, like it could still work. I guess that's a good it's a good one.
Yeah, on YouTube, Dr. Holocron says that they rather Barriss be an antagonist for Ahsoka than for Obi-Wan, because she has a relationship with Ahsoka, not Obi-Wan. So that's a very good point too. So maybe we could see Barriss in the Ahsoka show as an Inquisitor. In that sense too.
What's
which
not to
I
say
think
that she's not in both? And this is our
also
first
true.
And she is playing her. That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
we all win.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
I was having a great deep dive discussion with one of my friends the other day about the show, talking about storylines, what we could expect.
Yeah.
He brought up a great point. This period of time, the Empire is reigning. Yes, they're like
Yeah.
controlling everything. But Jabba's palace, that place is cranking.
Oh, absolutely.
How much are we going to see in this show, in Kenobi? Are we going to go to Jabba's palace? Are they going to be involved? Are we going to see a bit of Bosk, perhaps? a bit.
I mean, we
a
do.
bit of bounty
We
hunter
do.
action?
Yeah. I mean, we have the Book of Boba Fett coming out December of this year. So that's coming out before, and obviously that's taken place after Return of the Revenge of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, wow.
Which I mean, actually, Revenge of the Jedi was the original title for that movie anyway. But we're seeing like a Boba Fett story before Kenobi even comes out, and I mean, I think that it would be only natural to have Jabba's palace or something to do with that, because that's such a central storyline with Luke in the original trilogy. So that could definitely be a thing that we see. Yeah.
Yeah, I think because in terms we've spoken a little bit about before, he needs to be doing something. What's he doing hanging out in the dunes by himself? What's he getting up to? Yes, we might see a bit of a look at Luke's home and what's going on with Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, what they're up to. But yeah, and we're gonna get that Darth Vader pop up. But what's actually going to be the meat of the episodes, and what's the content and the adventure or the story that he's going to go on? I think we could see a bit of like action, that adventure action of Obi-Wan kind of, or Ben at this point, facing some sort of bounty hunter, some sort of a threat, but then through that experience he's going to be having all these like emotional responses to what's happened in his life.
I actually have an idea and I have a theory. I actually might know what this show is all about. This show is about Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. Because in Revenge of the Sith, I just remember this. In Revenge of the Sith, Yoda comes to Obi-Wan and says, I have learned a pathway to immortality through the Force. And your old master, Qui-Gon, has taught me how to do it. I'm going to teach you I'm going to teach you through the Force how to communicate to him. Because Qui-Gon is the first Force ghost.
Yeah.
And I think we see Qui-Gon in Clone Wars season 6, if I'm not mistaken, because he
in the Yoda arc.
In the Yoda arc. And that's when Yoda learns the Force Ghost power, and that's the reason why he's able to learn how to do it when he dies, and then he shows up in episode 6, and then he teaches Ben how to do it as well. So I think a major part of this show is going to be that, and maybe this is how we also see Hayden come in too, because maybe part of that you have to, like, we don't know the process of how to become a Force ghost. My assumption is that you have to completely let go, and you have to completely, and we see he's already let go, because in episode 4, Obi-Wan is already dead. Obi-Wan is gone. Old Ben is there because, because, and if you notice, he is Ben Kenobi. He is not Obi-Wan Kenobi. He is old Ben Kenobi. And I think part of this whole arc that we're going to see, obviously this is a different theory, but maybe part of this arc, and this is how Hayden Christensen comes in. Obviously, we're going to see Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru. We're going to see them in because he's so connected to Luke. And I think we might see a young Luke Skywalker, but I think that we're going to see a lot of Force projections. I think we're going to see a lot of Force sensitive stuff. And if you notice on that cast list, it doesn't list Liam Neeson on there, but I think he has said in the past that he would come back if asked.
Yes, and that wasn't actually too long ago. I feel like that was
No, it wasn't.
yeah, that was fairly recent.
Yeah, so that yeah,
Yeah.
that would be amazing because of the fact that like we even got like a glimpse of that in the that I just know the book name and I just went all over my head. Um, it's pretty much like the what ifs or whatever. Someone in the chat help me. I know it's a book. It's not Mephisto. Uh, uh, it was for the New Hope, and it was a bunch of short
Yeah,
stories.
Yeah, no.
Why am I drawing a blank
Yeah.
on it? Why am I drawing a blank on it? Because it's such a weird name. It's like Star Wars something. But yes.
This is fascinating.
Yeah, I know. There's always something in every episode, right? But yeah, the point is like in there's a section of Obi-Wan where he's pretty much, it's right before his death in the battle of while he's fighting Darth Vader, and he's having these visions and he's talking while he's getting swung at and he's about to go into the Force, he's being guided and seeing visions of the future and and seeing stuff in the past and hearing Qui-Gon helping guiding him. So this would be an interesting way of seeing that connection, because at that point we know in theory that he was talking to Qui-Gon already in A New Hope.
And then I found a interview note, like a quote from an interview that Liam Neeson did with Collider. And he said, quote, "I'll be honest with you, I haven't heard that at all." And that's in reference to him coming back or people wanting him to come back. But then he later added, "Sure, I'd be up for that. Yeah." End quote. So my assumption is that he's like being coy because he can't obviously say anything. So maybe we'll see like a Liam Neeson appearance in like another episode. And like maybe one of the episodes will just be Liam as Qui-Gon teaching Ewan McGregor how to become a Force ghost. And maybe we'll see, I'm sure that we will see Yoda in this show as well.
With Qui-Gon,
because like that doesn't make sense either, because how, like, he said that I'm going to teach you how to reach out to your own your old master Qui-Gon. Well, how is he going to teach it? Like, is Obi-Wan like, and we know that Yoda can force project himself across the galaxy just like Luke did. And he can, come in to wherever and be a Force ghost. So my assumption is that Yoda learned it first, then he went and taught Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon taught Yoda how to do it, and then Yoda went and helped him connect with Qui-Gon so he could also learn how to do it. Like, there's this show is going to be so interesting, and
there's a lot of elements, as cool as, let's see like Beru, what she's up to, but then there's also the super deep stuff of how is Obi-Wan going to process the past 10 years, the Clone Wars, but then also the 10 years after that. How is he emotionally processing that? Like, there's that really deep core stuff, and I think that's what, that's so Star Wars, that it's adventure, space, action, fun.
Oh yeah,
but then it has these really deep core human experiences that it discusses. So I'm so keen to learn about more about Obi-Wan's emotional journey, just as much as how cool it will be to see like things like little Luke.
And I think one of the things is like what we see from like in real life, a lot of, there's a lot of people that believe that like we are all on a path to self-acceptance, self-discovery, and like, a sense of nirvana. And that's kind of what the Force is. And what if the entire purpose of this show and the way that you become a Force ghost is that you have to completely let go? And that could be a very interesting thing that we could be discussing in this show, and there's very interesting, like real human emotion behind it, that we are, we have the opportunity to see somebody that, saw his master be killed in front of him, and then his Padawan, him kill his Padawan in front of him, and all of his friends and all of his family, his lover Satine, like everybody died.
Don't even mention Satine. I'm gonna tear up.
He has seen every single person around him die. And his Padawan did it.
Yeah.
So imagine the mental toll and the soul crushing anxiety and anger and confusion that he must be going through. And imagine if, obviously the Jedi they are all monks. That's what they are.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that they don't have emotion. That doesn't mean that they don't have feelings. And what if Lucasfilm writes a story where they walk Obi-Wan through a ego death type thing where he becomes, and then through that he takes off the mantle of Obi-Wan Kenobi and then becomes old Ben Kenobi, and he is the now Grand Master of the Jedi. And we see an entire just arc.
Yeah.
We
Nikk,
see
Nikk, you have juicy stuff to say.
Yes,
Nikk, what do
I'm
you
going to finish.
So what we do is we see this entire arc from the beginning to the end of this 6-episode show that, it's a 6-hour show. I'm going to assume they're not going to make them less than an hour each because it's a one-off. Over the entire arching thing of the entire episode, all 6-8 episodes or whatever it's going to be, we see Obi-Wan accept and kind of come to terms to what happened. Because if I when I'm in my 20s see my master be killed by a Sith, and I literally I couldn't do anything about it. I could not save Qui-Gon, and I saw him die, and to be in this, in this religion, the religion of the Jedi, where you're not supposed to have emotions. You're supposed to not have all of these, you're not supposed to have emotions. You're not supposed to have connections or love or anything.
Yeah.
And we also, and to back this up, this also could show that, he says that the Jedi do not exist anymore. There is no more Jedi, and the next Jedi is, Luke and Leia. And then eventually, Luke rebuilds. But in episode 8, Yoda says that he agrees with Luke that the Jedi must end. And he literally sets the Force tree on fire.
Yeah.
And he's like, she does, and obviously I know that she took the books from Octu. I understand that, but there's a little bit more behind that, because he says there's nothing in that temple that she doesn't already have. But I don't think Yoda was necessarily saying that to Rey. I think he was saying it to Luke, saying that Luke was right, that it is time for the Jedi to end. And whatever comes after, and this is what I think will be really interesting for a possible Rian Johnson trilogy or Taika Waititi's movie. Is he doing Old Republic? Well, I'm sure that we were going to see an episode 10, 11, 12. At some point, probably in the 2030s, in 10 years, we will see another 3 episodes that are after. But they're not going to be the Skywalker saga. It's going to be the next generation. It's going to be what comes after the Jedi. And they're going to take a lot of the teachings of the Jedi, and they're going to kind of morph it into this situation where you have connections and love and, belongings, but you also have it in a way that's a little more balanced. Maybe this is going to be the bounce board to actually see what that is. Nikk,
so,
you had
so going into all that was beautiful. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Really
going into that, because so think about this too. In season 6 of the Clone Wars, we saw Yoda have to go through the trials, and the trials is pretty dark for him, deep, and it had deep meanings that he had to go through, that he was fighting within himself. And it's gonna be neat that going off of that trail, I feel like these episodes are us following Obi-Wan's trials. We're gonna see Luke. It's gonna be sparingly.
Yeah.
We're gonna see a bunch of stuff happen. Yes, he's gonna. There's gonna be action. There's gonna be people chasing him. Vader, all this stuff. But I think you're right.
Yeah.
Like the moral of it is like I think we're gonna get to see him communicate with Yoda still, communicate with Qui-Gon, and Qui-Gon's the one who's gonna be guiding him. Because that's been seeded too in the Clone Wars, and then seeded at the end, like we said in Episode 3, and so now we're gonna actually see him finally come to terms where he probably becomes the caretaker, and understands that he has to believe in the Force and wait until the time is right, and then as he's trained, and he, I think that's a smart way of going about it, and it's gonna be really good.
Well, yeah, I mean, and it. Like George Lucas says that all of Star Wars rhymes with each other. And Qui-Gon believed that Anakin was the chosen one, but he also wasn't the chosen one. Yeah. It was also Luke. It was also Leia. It was also Rey. And it was also Ben. And I don't think that the lineage... I don't think the chosen one is a singular person. I think just this is the same thing. It was like Avatar, the chosen one, the Avatar, the Skywalker. Skywalker's talking about you're walking across the stars. Well, the stars are at light speed and can they kind of transcend time and space as well. So what if the chosen one isn't a singular person, but is a lineage of people? It is Anakin, but it's also Luke, Leia, Ben, and Rey. And the Skywalker saga is about the chosen one. And then this goes back into The Last Jedi, and the reason why The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, and the reason why I like it so much is because, like, this is the reason why I personally believe that The Rise of Skywalker is like one of the best cinematic movies of all time. Like, it's not the best cinematic movie of all time, but I think it's the best story, the conclusion of the story of all time, because it ties in the thought that, well, the only way to truly defeat evil is for you yourself to defeat the evil within you. And that's literally what happened to Rey. She had to kill her grandfather, who is like, the emperor. She has to it also rhymes with, you create your own demise too. Like, what did Palpatine want? Palpatine wanted immortality. He wanted to implant his soul into a different body. And he created Snoke, and it didn't work. It's assumed, obviously, it's assumed and it's talked about in Legends that Palpatine, and it's kind of assumed by me and a lot of people that the version of Palpatine that we saw in The Rise of Skywalker was a clone of Palpatine, and he transmitted his Force Ghost into a new body. And it's like, there's the running theory that the reason why Palpatine wanted Anakin is because he wanted to then transmit his soul into Anakin. And it's explained in The Rise of Skywalker, if Rey strikes him down, he will then go and possess her. And why can't that be that was my understanding from Episode 3 too, because that's basically his entire plan, because that's Darth Bane's plan and Darth Plagueis's plan. And that is the entire thing, is that's always what Star Wars has been about, it's about the Palpatines versus the Skywalkers.
Yes,
and
I think,
and this journey that Palpatine has,
the Palpawalkers,
to try to, sure, and like this journey to create immortality, and Palpatine tempted Anakin with that, and what he wanted, and I'm sure that this is exactly what he did with all of the other Sith as well, And, Plagueis was obsessed with it. I'm sure all of the other Sith were obsessed with it. So what if this, it's so hard to explain because, like, I understand this really, really well. And I can talk about this for like hours. And like, it's all about the Skywalkers and the Palpatines and the Palpatines' quest for immortality. And then the Skywalkers came into existence by the Force to counteract what the Palpatines were doing. And isn't it kind of poetic that the way that the Palpatines finally ended was ending themselves?
Absolutely.
And literally when Rey said, I am all of the Jedi, and Palpatine said, I am all of the Sith, it was two negatives canceling out the evil. And Palpatine and Rey Palpatine literally killed herself, which she did. She died. She and which, I mean, not to like bring religion into it, but like you sacrifice yourself to save everybody else, and then you come back to life, and then you are a new person. And like, I mean, like that's the Christian story, but and just in general, that's just the general thing. Which, I mean, like, that's kind of like, I was raised in a religious household, and that was always my understanding from what Star Wars was about, which maybe is the reason why I like it so much. But like, it's very interesting. Like, that is also the like, everything is like talking about like this thing of like, you have to go and destroy the evil parts of yourself and the evil in the galaxy by yourself. So isn't it interesting that Rey Palpatine killed Darth Sidious, a Palpatine, Sheev Palpatine, canceling out the Palpatine line for good, and then took up the mantle of the Skywalkers, which made her by name the Chosen One.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I completely agree with that whole idea and concept that there was never one chosen one. Even though Qui-Gon was so certain it's going to be Anakin, he's the chosen one. The whole idea that the chosen one actually is more of a spirit that kind of was a way of thinking and a way of being to be the chosen one. But Anakin was it, but then he got too vain and arrogant, and so it lost in him and went into Luke and Leia. Yeah. And then that went into Ben and Rey. So it's like, I totally agree in the sense that the Skywalker name was more of that journey of balance and understanding what balance is in light and dark. And what you were saying about the Palpatines, it's having to deny yourself and to that's the actual story that came out of that. Rey having to say, I'm not like whatever the
I'm not this. I'm gonna choose something else.
Yeah, exactly. And I understand that people can hate that she said, I'm Rey Skywalker, but if we think about the meaning behind it,
that's what it is.
What she's taken up. Yeah.
But aren't you? Aren't you Rey Skywalker? I mean,
yeah.
I mean, inside I am.
Yeah.
That's so good. But yeah, the fact that she had to deny herself and deny
her lineage,
what was in her and her lineage, and take up that mantle of the Skywalker. She was saying, I don't want to be this darkness inside.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And
Obi-Wan though.
Obi-Wan,
Obi-Wan.
I mean, like, I love Star Wars so much, but like Obi-Wan, to finish this up so we can move into the next section, which is we're going to be talking about the Bad Batch. I think it's going to definitely be this arcing story about Obi-Wan's path into like this Nirvana type state where we're going to see Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan and Yoda, and he's going to have to maybe even battle Darth Vader in his mind and get over it and go through that. And maybe that's how Hayden will fit into the story, and we'll see Inquisitors and people trying to hunt him down and everything.
Definitely.
Because there was one line that Vader said, and we'll finish this. We'll finish on this. Vader says, I have not felt, like he said, Obi-Wan is on the ship. What was the line? He said, I haven't felt that energy. He's here or something. Like, I know he's here. And at that some point, he said, since, and then he walks away. Yeah. And he said that he hadn't felt that presence since, and then walks away. Well, what's that sense? Is he's talking about Mustafar, or is he talking about something that happens in Kenobi?
That's a good thought.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. So, well, clearly there's a lot of questions where we're so excited to get answered into the show of Kenobi. 2023, that's no, 2022.
No,
That's
2020,
yeah,
2022.
next year. That's so excited for that.